Ever felt a bit lost, a little bit stuck, lack of confidence, frustration? You got all these goals, all these dreams, all these visions for your life. I'm sure you've got an amazing vision board like I do up there. You're not short of ambition, but something's missing. Let's be honest. If writing goals got the job done, everyone would make it. Writing a list of what you want, what you can get, what you can have, what you want to do, it's easy. Jim Rohn said that most people, it's a lack of reason why they don't do well. I'm going to suggest that it's lack of meaning. Some years ago, I made a decision to write a letter to my future self. I want to talk you through the process. I actually have the letter with me today, the very, very same letter, and I want to help you build this. Because here's the thing, we're not human doings, we're not human gettings, we're human beings. Something magical happened when I shifted my perspective from what can I do, what can I get, what can I have, to who am I being? Who can I become? Who am I pursuing? You know, a great mentor of mine, Pete Cohen, said that for most people, where they are has become who they are. You don't have to be where you are. What do I mean by that? You know, most people, they're ill. Their illness becomes a part of them. Most people are in an environment they don't want to be around, but they become a part of that environment. That environment becomes a part of them, and they struggle to see further than where they are. I was in exactly that position. My income was a reflection of my environment. My habits were a reflection of my environment, and I could set goals. I could write to-do lists, and I can get as excited as I wanted, but I wasn't moving. Something interesting is that I have the exact letter that I wrote to myself all those years ago. This is literally the exact letter. And I'm not going to read it out loud on this stream, mainly because it won't be of enough value for you guys. But I want to take you through the process. More importantly, I want you to make a decision today. I want you to write a letter to your future self. I want you to go through this process so you can feel the connection and the commitment that I had to this journey. Guys, getting started is not easy. Keeping going is definitely not easy. Against all odds, most importantly against yourself. You know, guys, it never occurred to me that each and every day, each and every habit, each and every action that I'm taking is molding and sculpting a future version of myself. That one day I will end up. The question is where, as Jim Rohn would say. The question is how. How will I look? How will I feel? How will my experience be? Where will I live? And as I said, my focus shifted from what can I get, what can I have, to who can I become? Can I pursue a person that holds the value to have these things? Having an income goal is great, but imagine pursuing a person that has levels of wealth which you desire. I want to talk you through this letter because I think it's important. And this is off the cuff, so I want you to bear with me. But I want you to take it in, and maybe you want to pause this video and get yourself a pen and paper, or maybe you want to watch this back. I want to take you through the process of this. And fundamentally, this was about me making a decision. You know, I have another video coming which is talking about change. Change, there's really 3 phases to change, and one of them is decision. You know, guys, you'll know when you've made a decision in your life because you'll never go back. The word decide comes from a Latin word, decidia. Decidia meaning to cut off. When you write this letter to your future self, you're making a declaration to your future self that you're leaving the present behind. There are 3 phases to change, but like I said, that's for another video. I want to take you through the process. I want to take you through this letter, and maybe we can have some fun along the way. This next part of the video, I am not editing at all. So let's see how this goes. So at the top, I actually dated this to myself. I actually addressed this to myself, and I posted the letter to myself as well, which may sound pretty crazy. But listen, When you're a man on a mission, nothing else matters. You can't afford to care about what other people think of you. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you're stuck today. You're worried about what people think about you. Well, let me tell you something. If you were clear on where you were going, if you were clear on who you were becoming, nothing's going to stop you. Can you already see the power and the difference between setting some income goals, writing some affirmations, and building a relationship with your future self? I addressed it to myself when I posted the letter. I dated it and I started with Dear Dan Dukes. Now, the first phase of this letter, guys, is about acceptance. It's about accepting where you are and who you are currently. You're basically explaining to your future self and almost reminiscing on who you used to be. Because remember, this is a letter to your future self. You are imagining in the present and in the future, if that's possible. So as I was writing, I was reading back as the person I am becoming or I want to become. So the first starts with accepting where you are, a letter of acceptance. I started by saying, there's been a lot of changes in my life right now. I'm feeling the pressure. As I write this, I know I'm feeling the pressure. It's been a tough time. Again, I'm not going to read you word for word because it's not relevant to you. I want you to take the process and arrange it accordingly. My business is slow right now. This is happening financially. It says here, my house is up for sale. And I'm basically unloading and offloading, and I'm drawing a line between who I am now and who I'm becoming. The first step to change is to accept, to look yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes and say, this is where I am because this is who I am. But I'm no longer prepared to live this way. Guys, the next step is me explaining how excited and how happy I am for who I am today. Remember, this is now my future self. So I start by saying, I'm so happy and grateful that all of that is now in the past. And as I'm reading this, I am feeling this way. I am living this way. I am now this level in my business. This problem that I was speaking about is no longer. I'm grateful that I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm grateful that my relationship with God is better. You know, funnily enough, it says, I'm so grateful now that I have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is kind of hilarious, as this is my first ever video on YouTube, even to this day. But I want you to think about this. This is going to take some time and some thinking and some meaning. And I want you to cast the vision for yourself today. But Neville Goddard says to act as if it's already done. You're affirming that this is already done. Now, you're going to do this in such a way with so much emotion that you come away so inspired. Remember, you've already decided who you've become. The end is already in mind. As I've got here, I have painted the picture of a person, of myself, in the best shape I've ever been, with a healthy relationship with God, with this level in my business, acquired these things. A person of a sound mind, at peace with the past. I'm already affirming myself and I'm building a connection with my future self that I desire to become. As I said, this is going to take a bit of time, this is going to take some effort, and this is going to take an emotion. But I want to explain to you the impact that it had on my life. Because here's the thing, as you go through your journey, you're going to have a lot of doubters, you're going to have a lot of haters, but none are going to be as big and as challenging as yourself. You're going to continuously, and maybe you do this already, and by the way, I like to keep this letter in my favorite book of all time, Think and Grow Rich, and I keep it there, and we'll keep it there until this thing literally disappears. But You know, guys, as I was saying, there's no bigger hater than your present and your past self. The past you is always going to bring up these experiences and these reasons why it can't happen for you, why it won't work. But this letter is a letter of closure. What happened to me? Well, I got so excited about being this person, I started to feel like it was already done. Every day I was building a relationship with a future self that didn't exist physically, but mentally it was existing. I would stop and ask myself, is this what I'm doing, what I'm eating, contributing? What would my future self, if they were watching me right now, think of what I'm doing? And guys, it changed the game. Everybody, including yourself, is going to remind you of how it can't happen. But you're so focused and you're so aligned with this person that exists in the future that you can't afford to stop and think about today. You know, your head is up. You're looking so far ahead that you can't see today. People used to remind me that I didn't have money. I would remind myself that I didn't have money. Dan, you're broke. I would say, I'm not broke. I'm pre-rich. Today, maybe I go to the gym and I can't lift this. Well, I'm excited to lift this. I'm excited to lift this. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to be this. Because the future version of me can do this. Is this. I would affirm this over and over again. This letter is your decision. Remember I said the word decision comes from a Latin word decidio, which means to cut off. Once you write this letter, you commit, you decide, you never go back. All the goals, all the visions, all the affirmations, they're great. They are key. You know, I would argue that every successful person in the world has goals and dreams and visions and sees things. But I truly believe if you look at all the greatest in the world, if you actually research, people were already imagining themselves way ahead of where they were. They were imagining them at the end of the journey. They started with the end in mind. Before I close this first video, I want to remind you of an incident that happened with Anthony Joshua. And I'm not a boxing fan, so I'm not going to pretend that I know the guy's name. And I'm also not going to stop to check it out. But Anthony Joshua fought an underdog. And at the weigh-in, he decided to let this guy, I think his name was Ruiz or something, he decided to let him hold the belts. I remember very, very clearly in a group chat, a mentor of mine at the time saying, he actually did a video into the group chat and he said, he's lost. He allowed this person, the complete underdog, who had nothing to lose, kind of like you maybe, you got nothing to lose. I can tell you I had nothing to lose with my journey, guys. Nothing to lose, everything to gain in this world. He allowed him to experience how it felt to hold the belts. Once he did that, it was finished. Maybe you should go back and check it out. But listen, I would love to know if you've written your letter to yourself. I would love to know how this video has impacted you today, but also love to know how it affects you in the future if you really take this thing seriously. I'm going to tell you guys, this turned my world upside down for the better when I started to do this, because goals just weren't enough for me. Let me know in the comments. Feel free to share this with people that you love, people that you respect. If you own a business, if you're in an industry where you build a team, I would encourage you to share this with all of those people and help them build a strong vision for their future. Because remember, where you are does not have to be who you are.